VCT Connect 2021, a day prior to close, we have our beloved student Shravani as a resource student for today's presentation. Shravani would be speaking on a topic that is interesting projects from Department of Civil Engineering, that may be VGST project or the related. It's my privilege to introduce Shravani to you all. She is studying in final year civil engineering, that is 7th semester. As I know her, she was always an excellent performer in her academics since the very first year, and today she is doing the same. She is continuing the same in final year as well. Shravani is very much interested in participating in various cultural activities. Specifically, her specialty is she's a artist that she performs on skits and dramas. Most of the time for today, we don't find the students who are good in that forte. The singing and dancing are the common hobbies which students are interested in, and Shravani stands out from the rest because she is very good in act. Her hobbies too extend on drawing and sketching, which is in which she finds her quality time. And today she is with us to continue with the presentations, to continue the saga of VCT Connect 21. So I'm handing over the session to Shravani. She'll be briefing about civil department and the projects which are taken up by civil engineering department. Shravani, you can continue.
Yes,
Are you
ma'am.
there? Yeah. Okay, Shravani. Over to you. Have a good day. Students, have a good session. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for the introduction also, ma'am. Okay. Okay,
Please.
let me start. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, happy to hear. Okay, it is VCT Connect 2021, and I think it is the last day, or tomorrow is there, no, ma'am? Ma'am?
Yeah. Tomorrow one day. One day. Tomorrow one day session is there. Today is a day prior.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah. Please proceed.
Okay. Today we are going to see about the VGST projects, okay, from Civil Department. As ma'am have given introduction of mine, my name is Shravani and I'm from final year civil. Okay, let me get into it. Okay, as I said, I'm from Department of Civil Engineering. Okay, today's topic is VGST funded student projects. I'm not taking projects which are done by faculty. And our department, that is Civil Department Project Coordinator Suman sir, you can see him, and I have given a photo of him. Okay, let me go to next one. I said VGST, right? What is it? It's a vision group on science and technology. If you just search in Google as VGST, you will get into this homepage of them, of VGST, their group. Their main objective is to encourage and promote science and technology education and research in the state. Okay, you can go through this website, and I am interested in the associations part. In association, they have listed almost 8 associations of VGST, and in that, first one is KRVP, Karnataka Rajya Vijnana Parishad, and the second one is DSERT. You can see it, right? Yeah. If you go there, it's Department of State Educational Research and Training. It's about 10th and 10th, 9th standard. It will be helpful. Here you can see workbook, right? Yeah, not for you. It may be for your younger brother and all. It's a workbook. You can get it. There is a bridge course from Nalikali to 10th standard, and there is a workbook for 4th to 10th standard. And you can see the videos of different experiments. It may be chemistry and all. If you choose any one experiment, you can get its theory, procedure, video, simulator, animation, and Viva, and you can give the feedback also. And okay, it is about DSERT, Department of State Educational Research and Training. Another one is Department of Pre-University Education. It's nothing but given about PU. PU textbooks are available in PDF format, and PUC syllabus is also available in this website, and you can check your results also. CET, PUC result, SLC result, everything. Next association is Department of Collegiate Education. This you can get several central government websites, government apps, and technical websites, all those things. You can go through it. And the next is VTU. You might not be knowing now. Our VCET is affiliated to VTU, right? In the upcoming 4 years, you will be well known about VTU. What is that? It's the Vishveshwaraya Technological University, Belagavi. And as VTU, it's a Gulbarga University. And last one is Breakthrough Science Society. We are aiming at KSCST right now. What is KSCST? It is Karnataka State Council for Science and Technology. Under this, we are submitting our projects, which projects we are going to do in our final year. Okay, here you can see student project program in the right side. Okay, arrow mark is showing, right? Student project program, right? SPP. We are submitting our project to this SPP. Okay. Okay, let me get into this topic. 43rd series of student project program, that is 2019-20. Latest is 44th series, that is 2021. I'm just taking last year and this 2021. And ours is just means my batch students and we are just in a initial stage, that we are just preparing a group or making group of us. Okay, topic and all not decided it. Okay, let us get into this 43rd series of student project program. There are 4 projects which I have selected by KSCST and are funded also. Okay, let me go to the first one. A study on sedimental analysis of a floodplain at Kukkau. It's in Beltangadi, okay? Beltangadi Taluk, Dakshina Kannada. And students who taken this project are Miss Anushayam, Miss Apurvayan, and Mr. Manjunath TS, and Mr. Bhujangayam. And this project is done under the guidance of Sureka ma'am and Subramanya sir. And amount sanction is 4,500 rupees. Okay, it's a Kukkau place, I told, right? It is in Beltangadi Taluk. You can see the map here. Kukkau, it's a government higher primary school it's showing, but it's a Kukkau place. Okay, it is in Beltangadi. You can see a bridge here. Okay, it's a Kukkau bridge. It is built across the Netravati river at Kukkau on Somantatka Dirupe road. Some of you might have been seen this, right? Or gone through this bridge. Okay. You can see this bridge, right? It's not like this now at present. In 2019, okay, August 9, there was a flash flood. And after that, previously the bridge was like this. And after that, a part of the bridge is washed out. You can see this in the picture. I hope you can see this. It's a part of the bridge is washed out and the road is also damaged, right? Yeah. And it is in the evening, okay, in the night the water is came into the house also. People were suffered a lot in this flash flood. You can see so many trees and all, right? Yeah, fallen trees and aggregates like a jelly, you can see, right? Yeah, in our civil language we see it as gravel and jelly, sand, so many things which can be used for construction can be seen here. I hope all of you can see this. Yes, what I mentioned this project, the students have taken this concept that whether these materials can be used for construction. It is not in this small amount, it was there in a very big, much more quantity it was there. That much big flood it is. It's a flash flood. Flash flood means it's in less time, intensity of rainfall is more. Okay, so many this type of bills and all were there. So they conducted a project to test whether these particles or pebbles, or what we can say aggregates, can be used in construction. At the end of their project, they did the test, several tests which can be done or which can say whether it can be used or not. They done all such experiments or a test, and then they have come to a final decision that those particles or aggregates can't be used in construction, means which could take more load. In such constructions we should not use this, because that aggregates, they are not capable of taking strength or load. Okay, but in a minor it may be for a small period you are using that construction, not of much use. In that case and all, you can use this, but not for major construction. It is their conclusion. Okay, these aggregates can't be used in building construction. It's about first project. And the second project, it is low cost housing for rural mass sustainability at Kulagrama, Puttur. Okay, Puttur, DK. And the students who have done this project are Mr. Anup Anchal, Mr. Manoj, and Mr. Nitesh Shake, and Mr. Pushparaj. And this project is done under the guidance of Dr. Sandeep J. Naik sir, and the amount sanctioned by KSCST is 5,500. Okay, let me get into this. Okay. You can see here, right, Sandeep sir and all the team members. Okay. It's Kulagrama. It's almost 9 kilometers away from Puttur actually. It comes under Bantwal Taluk. We can see here satellite image of it's a Kulagrama or Kula village, and location map is also given. And Bantwal Taluk, it comes here. Okay. Okay. Here also I have given that picture. Kula is a village near Kabaka, okay, and it is 9 kilometers away from Puttur. It comes under Kula Panchayat, Bantwal Taluk, Dakshin Kannada district. According to the Grama Panchayat of Kula, if you see that records and all, the total population of Kula is 3,093. There are 530 houses. Total area of Kula is 557 hectares. Okay. Okay, as we know, the population is exploding, increasing in population, right? Yeah. If population is increasing, means housing, the need for housing is also increasing. And increasing in the need of house is also the major area of concern for the government. Approximately one-third Indians live below international poverty line, so that they can't pay much for housing. They can't pay more only for housing, right? Yeah, this is the main objective of this project, to go for an alternate solution for low cost, but it should be structurally sustainable, not only concentrating about the cost. Okay, it should be sustainable one. Okay, in this, for this project they have used coir fiber. Coir fiber, you might be knowing. Okay, it is given, a picture is given here. It's coconut fiber. Yes, coir fiber is, it is hard. So many of you know it, right? Yeah, it is hard, it's versatile, it's a natural fiber, it's available in large quantity, and it is economical also. They have used this, okay, this coir. And for this project, they have made a block, cement block. For that, they have used OPC, ordinary Portland cement of 53 grade, and they have used gravel, that is baby jelly, then fine aggregate M sand, manufactured sand, and potable water. Then what they have used especially is locally available rural materials. Okay, that is coir fiber. Okay, required length and diameter. There should be some thicknesses there. Yeah, then mixing has to be done, right? Yeah, before that they have taken so many um fine aggregates, coarse aggregate and all there, na? Yeah. Okay, for that different tests has to be conducted. It may be for cement, it is fineness, what is the fineness of cement, then specific gravity of it, normal consistency, initial setting time, slump test, all tests has to be conducted. Okay, then they have mixed it, right? Cement, sand, and BVCD. Yeah, the design mix is 1 is to 3 is to 6. Cement, sand, and jelly with water cement ratio of 0.6. Okay, it is the things which they have used, that coir fiber. You can see here, right? Yeah. Coir fiber content was 0.5% to 2% by total weight of cement, M sand, and baby jelly. And they have the result for 0.5% of coir fiber, 1%, 2%. Then they have compared with the strength at the end. Okay. Yes. Then the mixing, proper mixing is done. Then they have prepared the cement block. You can see here, it's cement block with the coir fiber. You can see here, right? Okay. Then curing has to be done 7 and 8 days, 28 days curing. That is water, okay? Adding water, and before testing, it has to be properly sun dried. Then they have calculated they have tested the compression strength for 0.5% coir fiber and 1% 2%. They have got the result of a compressive strength in a Newton per mm square. What they have concluded or what the result they have got is addition of fiber more than the optimum have adversely affect the compressive strength. If you add more fiber, strength will be decreasing. Okay, that is compressive strength for 0.5% fiber was 4.1 Newton per mm square. If you increase the fiber content, compressive strength will decrease. So optimum minimum design was found. Design is mixing and all. Optimum minimum design was found in this project, but compressive strength for 0.5% fiber was 4.1 Newton per millimeter square. But if you increase the fiber percentage, compressive strength will, of course, decreases. It is the result of this project. Okay. Next project, optimization of irrigation efficiency using soil and pedotransfer functions. And this project is done by Ms. Rashmi Eskulal, Ms. Sarika B, Ms. Shravanya N, and Ms. Swati Naik. And this project is done under the guidance of Dr. Sandeep Jain Naik sir and Prashant sir. Amount sanctioned from KSCST is 4,500 rupees. All of you know about irrigation, right? Yeah, here they are using pump for irrigation, and it is drip irrigation, micro irrigation, using sprinkler also. It's done, right? Irrigation. Okay. What is irrigation? It is the process of supplying water to land by artificial means for the purpose of cultivation. In order to grow more food or more crops and agricultural product in a large quantity or in a more to feed the increasing population, right? Yeah, intensive farming is systematic farming. With more input we are getting more output, that is intensive farming. And rotation of crops are essential for this. If all these things should be done, means irrigation should be proper. There should be systematic irrigation. Okay. Water is normally supplied to the plants by nature, right? Through rain. The total rainfall in a particular area may be either not sufficient or ill-timed. And sometimes there may be rain, but when they need water, at that time rain may not come. It is a problem they are facing, right? Okay. In order to get the maximum yield, it is essential to supply the optimum quantity of water and to maintain correct timing of water. Not only supplying the water, there should be correct timing. At correct time, water should be gotten by the farmer. Farmer should get the water at the correct time. And this is possible only through a systematic irrigation system by collecting water during the time of excess rainfall and releasing it to the crop when it is needed. When there is excess rainfall, much water is there, right? Yeah, we have to collect it and we have to use it when it is needed. Okay, in this project, the work is done in the field to evaluate terrain, soil, and climatic characteristics to optimize the irrigation efficiency. They have taken the regions. Okay, they have studied the regions. 4 regions they have taken: Kodipadi, Narimogaru, Haradi, and Survey. Methodology, what and all they have done is map study. Which and all area they have taken, they have studied that area, its terrain and all. Collecting the agricultural detail, which are the major crops in that area, and selecting suitable site for the test. They have selected this site for their test. Okay, then conduction of the test. That moisture content test, permeability test, infiltration, field capacity, sieve analysis. For moisture content, they have conducted one test. It may be a core cutter method and all. And permeability and infiltration. For infiltration, they have used double ring infiltrometer method. What is that double ring infiltrometer method? It is nothing but it's as you can see in the picture, it have 2 rings, right? Okay. It's a simple instrument used for determining water infiltration of the soil. The rings are partially inserted into the soil and filled with water, after which the speed of infiltration is measured. Okay, next one is getting equation for pedotransfer function. An equation or model developed for indirect estimation of a particular soil property is termed as a pedotransfer function. PTF means a pedotransfer function add value to this basic information by translating it into estimates of other more laborious and expensively determined soil properties. 1 minute. Okay, I'm sorry. Pedotransfer function add value to this basic information by translating it into estimates of other more laborious and expensively determined soil properties. Means soil properties can be determined but in an expensive way, but using pedotransfer function it can be find out easily.
Hello, Shravani. Hello, Shravani,
Yes, ma'am.
your audio is struck.
Oh, okay, ma'am. I was muted in between. Okay, I will.
Yeah. From this particular slide, okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, uniformity coefficient. As I mentioned earlier, it is an experiment site, and here it's a layout of cans to test the sprinkler distribution pattern. Yes, they have placed the cans here, and the sprinkler will be there, right? Yeah. The this large point is a sprinkler position, and the small dots are can. Okay, they collect the water in that can, and amount of water collected is then calculated. Okay, it's a catch can. This in this water is collected, which is here you can see the sprinkler, right? Yeah, water will be sprinkled. That water is collected in the catch can. You have to record the water in the can by measuring the volume of water in the can. Then they have done the validation. It's a comparing result with the standard values. In Kodipadi, the actual value is given in a blue, then formula by value given by the or they got the value by the applied formula. It is in a orange color. Like that, they have given the result as a validation. They validated it. Then calculation of statistical physiochemical soil properties in Puttur region. That is soil physical properties such as a sand or it is a silt or it is a clay or pH of that soil, cation exchange capacity, water content, bulk density, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium and infiltration also were used for developing pedotransfer functions. Okay. Then here in the step they will go with the next step. It is a bulk density calculation. What is the density, bulk density of that soil? And they have given the result in a tabular format. Means at Kodipadi, at Narimoguru, what is the pH, what is the water content, what is the amount of nitrogen. Like that, they have tabulated the result and the estimation of different parameters through pedotransfer. By using this result, they have done other calculations to estimate the different parameters. Okay, at the end, they have come to the conclusion that the performance of a sprinkler or a drip irrigation system, which requires less water compared to other traditional system. However, their performance is often ascended based on water uniformity coefficient collected in catch cans. Catch cans we have seen, right? They collect water is collected in that, and they have calculated the amount of water collected in that. Okay. Sprinkler spacing, operating pressure, and environmental variables such as wind speed and direction affect the water distribution. Okay, wind speed is also affecting the water distribution. We can't just we can't ignore all those things. The wind speed and direction of wind we can't ignore. It also affects. Okay, uniformity coefficients in the study area are determined by different formulas suggested by authors. Greater the uniformity coefficient means more efficient will be the irrigation system. In the drip irrigation, the loss in a drip irrigation is less. Loss of water is less. Only minimum quantity of water is used and it will be sufficient for that plant. Okay. In addition to this, under heavy wind conditions, keeping laterals perpendicular to the wind direction and bringing sprinkler close together will enhance uniformity in sprinkler irrigation. It is their conclusion. And if their project is selected by KSCST, they will get a letter like this, and they will give the sponsored amount, and for what? Material 4,000, report 500, like this. It's one more page is there. I'm not showing that here. Okay, the students who have undertaken this project: Rashmi, Skolal, Sarika, Shravanya, and Swati, and the guide Sandeep sir and Prashant sir. Okay, let me go to 44th series after, because only 3 projects of 43rd series I have finished. I have one more, right? Okay. And it is that, okay, here it is. It's 43rd series KSCST project, means 2019-20. It is a fourth project. Only 4 projects were selected, and it is a fourth project having the title as Desalination Approach of Seawater and Brackish Water by Coconut Shell Activated Carbon as a Natural Filter Method. Okay. And the project is done by Mr. Vishwaki, Mr. Surya Prakash DG, Ms. Anusha IK, and Mr. Prasad DS. And this project is done under the guidance of Soumya GM ma'am and Yogesh sir. Okay, introduction. It's nothing but fresh water today is a scarce resource, and it is being felt the world over, right? There is no, actually, it is in a less quantity, but nowadays, since the usage of fresh water is more, we have scarcity of it. Okay. As population is increasing, the source of high quality fresh drinking water decreases. Okay. Using desalination process means removing the salt content. Nothing but desalination process. We can provide fresh water. Right. Desalination is any process that removes excess salt and other minerals from water. While desalination process is going, or after the completion of that, we can get 2 streams of water. That is, one treated up fresh water that has low concentration of salts and minerals. Second thing is concentrate, which has salt and mineral concentrations higher than that of the feed water. Feed water means salt water. If we get salt water, after the desalination process, one thing we get to pure water, right? Pure means with the low concentration of salt. Another thing, that salt should be there in another side, right? Yeah, that concentration is also there. So, 2 products. Desalination processes may be used in municipal, industrial, commercial applications. Okay. The pure water that is obtained after desalination must be remineralized to be adequate for human consumption. The feed water or the salt water, right? Yeah. For desalination process can be seawater or brackish water. Brackish water contains more salt than fresh water but less than salt water. Brackish water is commonly found in estuaries, which are the lower courses of rivers where they meet the sea. The 2 technologies are primarily used around the world for desalination. There is thermal distillation and membranes. Okay, right now desalination seawater is the only viable way to provide water to growing population. How it is done? Seawater or brackish water. It's get into the desalination plant. The natural filter will be there. Then filter the desalted water we can get. Cost-effective technique of desalination. In most of the plants, I will say all those things in a brief. In most of the plant, what they have did is they come across desalination and all, but 2 products will be there, right? In that second one, with higher concentration of salt, they will what they will get into, or they will put those, or they make it go through the sea only. Again, go to the sea means there will be. It's not good for the marine environment, right? Yeah. They release all those things to the sea again. That higher concentration salt, what product is there? With the removing salt means there should be salt. That salt part they are releasing again to the sea. It's not good for marine environment. So that technique should not be used, right? Yeah. But what they have did in this project is natural filter method. Easy to manufacture the filter product, an environmental friendly solution for desalination, safe disposal of brine solution or charcoal can be reused, household utility, and cost effective desalination method, energy efficient technique. Okay, it is a plus point of their project. Objective is to prepare the model and prototype in the laboratory to convert salt water into drinking water, to collect the sample and compare the results with other samples, and also Bureau of Indian Standard specifications, to find a cheaper, cleaner, and more energy efficient way of desalinating seawater. Okay, the material used is PET bottle and coconut charcoal, fine aggregate, laterite pebbles, mesh, and cotton cloth. Okay. They have first step is preparing the model, then collecting the sample, passing through the model prepared, pure water is obtained, then lab test will be conducted and will be compared with the BIS specification, that is Bureau of Indian Standard. Okay, it is a setup procedure for a prototype 1. You can see different layers, right? Yeah, I will explain what are those layers. The bottle top cover is started. Okay, inside that bottle the cotton cloth is placed and then wire mesh is placed of size 2 mm, and another layer of cotton cloth and mesh is placed for the blocking of smaller particles won't be included in the fresh water. To avoid that, cotton cloth and mesh is provided. Then coconut charcoal is placed, but it is of size 2.36 mm to 10 centimeter thickness. Then fine aggregate of a lesser size. Then again coconut charcoal of a somewhat larger. Then laterite pebble. Then coconut charcoal of some more larger. Then fine aggregate of more size. Then the coconut charcoal with the top layer has at the top layer of size 4.75 to 4 centimeter. The top portion is kept open. Why? Because atmospheric pressure can act over it and it helps in the filtration process. Working procedure in this experiment, the seawater is collected from Panamburu beach and the brackish water is collected from Tannirbavi. Then the initial test of the water sample is performed at the lab. Then the water sample is poured into the model, which we have seen right now. Then after some time it is left for the filtration process and then it will be collected at the outlet of the setup by using the tap. Okay, then the various tests are performed such as hardness test, chloride test, iron, sodium, sulfate, electric conductivity, all those tests are performed. And for prototype 2, they have cleaned the coarse aggregate, then cleaning it. Then they have used coconut charcoal, right? Yeah, cleaned and dried it. Setup procedure for prototype 2. It is also almost the same. 3 layers of placed, first layer coarse aggregate, second layer fine aggregate, third layer coconut charcoal. Like that, almost the same with the size different. In the top, there should be larger size because water have to penetrate. While coming to the bottom, no smaller particle should pass through it. Means cloth and mesh is used for that. As just like a prototype 1, it's a setup, filtration unit, draining pipe setup, and fill the coarse aggregate, fine aggregate, and coconut charcoal. Working procedure. The seawater and brackish water is initially tested. Then the water is poured into prototype 2. Then it is left for filtration process. Then the filtered water is tested in the lab compared to the initial test to see how much of the salt content is reduced. It is a final setup for prototype 2. It is a result what they have got before desalination, before desalination process and after desalination process. What is the total hardness? It's decreased, right? Chloride content of sodium, electric conductivity, like that. For prototype, they didn't completed this project because of COVID-19 situation or pandemic. Okay, only prototype 1 they have a result completed, and hard they have given in a bar chart also before desalination, after desalination. Result, the present obtained result will be lead to concentrate on the research over desalination process by using locally available natural filters, which is a eco-friendly, cost-effective technique and can be easily afforded by common people. Okay, in the prototype 1, the total hardness of calcium carbonate in seawater is reduced to 320 or reduced by 320 milligram per liter. The chloride content is reduced to 2165 milligram per liter. You can see those things in the bar chart and as well as this in this table also. Okay. The sodium content is more than 100 milligram per liter in seawater. The electric conductivity of seawater is 65.5 ms and after desalination it was reduced to 60 ms at 30 degrees Celsius. It is a result of their project. In conclusion, The present approach is done by using locally available natural filter and it is eco-friendly. And as per result, the hardness is reduced, chloride content is also reduced. It is their conclusion. Okay. It is a 43rd series. I will just give a look at the 44th series of KSCST. A minute. Okay, 44th series, Student Project Program, SPP 2021. Okay, it is the project title is Impact of Urbanization on Soil Properties in Puttur Town, Dakshina Kannada. Students who have done this project is Miss Anushri M, Miss Harshita PN, Mr. Lakshmisha CS, and Mr. Abhishek ST. And this project is done under the guidance of Shivaram sir and Soumya Anjana. I will tell you this in a brief. Urbanization is a process in which population moves from rural to urban areas, which leads to overburden on urban infrastructure and resources. As its heading says, right, impact of urbanization on soil property, how it is changed. What is a soil property now and what is a soil property before? Okay, they have studied Puttur town only. Objective is identification of wastewater disposal location of various establishments, means how wastewater is affected the soil property. Then evaluating the impact of urbanization on soil properties. And this is a process method. They have done identification of point of source of wastewater at a commercial establishment in Puttur municipality, then a collection of soil samples at different distances and depth along the drain bed, testing soil property, then all those things, that is organic carbon, pH test, potassium, everything. Then analyzing the properties of urban soil with the forest soil. Methodology is the same thing which I have said now. Identification of the point of source from where the wastewater is coming and collection of soil. Then, okay, it's a core cutter method. Soil sample collected by core cutter near Haradi. Haradi. Then soil sample collected for chemical properties test near wood mill. Test on soil properties, as I said, it's iron test, copper, zinc, phosphorus, nitrogen amount, and electrical conductivity, organic carbon, pH, potassium, every test has to be conducted and it is conducted by them. The result of potassium test, I'm just giving the result of potassium test only. It's 15 centimeter depth, at 30 centimeter depth, they have taken the result, and at 15 centimeter for 0 meter interval, 10 meter, like that they are going. Okay, for 15 centimeter depth at 0 meter interval from the hotel, what is the potassium content is given in this blue color, right? Yeah, like this gray. They have mentioned which and all these things and they have put the result in a bar chart. It will be easier for understanding purpose. It is 15 centimeter depth at a 20 meter interval. And for pH test also, the wastewater from hotel, how much pH? It's a less, right? Maximum is from garages. Okay, maximum pH. pH of 4 to 7. Acidic, basic. You might be knowing. Okay. I have mentioned just a pH test and all, right? pH and okay. Other tests also done. I didn't shown this here, just like a pH and all. They have tabulated the result in a bar chart. Zinc test, iron test, copper, phosphorus, organic carbon, nitrogen, electrical conductivity test, all those tests they have done during their project time. And the conclusion is urbanization in Puttur town shows changes in soil properties compared to forest land. Means forest land is, of course, it's different. Okay, there won't be any urbanization, so it can be taken as a standard one or to refer how much it is affected. Okay, yeah, the effect is found more in nitrogen and organic carbon of soil. The soil properties such as EC, that is electric conductivity, and phosphorus, nitrogen, organic carbon, everything, zinc, copper, pH of soil is decreased as urban land increases. The land degradation is more on surface and decreases along length of drain, maybe due to infiltration of wastewater. It is the conclusion of this project. Okay. Last project, that is done by. Okay, I will say the title first. Predicting the land use and land cover changes of Puttur Taluk, Dakshina Kannada using remote sensing and GIS techniques. And this project is done by Mr. Nishant Reyes, Ms. Sahana HM, Ms. Nishkala B, and Ms. Pavitra BR under the guidance of Sumant sir and Soumya NJ ma'am. Introduction to this. Land use, land cover generally refers to the categorization or classification of human activities and natural elements on the landscape within a specific time frame. Land use involves the management and modification of natural environment. Land cover refers to the physical characteristics of Earth's surface, that what is the vegetation over there, what is the water, soil, and other physical features of that land. Land use and land cover change assessment helps to detect the extent of human influence on natural environment. They have used GIS, that is Geographic Information System, and remote sensing to done this project. Need of this study is land use and land cover mapping is important for the planning and development of the land parcel. The remote sensing data combined with the field survey data can provide a unique and hybrid database for optional mapping of land use and land cover. LULC, that is land use land cover maps, plays a significant and prime role in planning, management and monitoring programs at a local, regional and national levels. This type of information on the one hand provides a better understanding of land utilization aspects, and on the other hand it plays an important role in the formation of policies and programs required for development planning. Their objective is to create a land use land cover mapping from satellite image and to determine the trend, nature, rate, location, and magnitude of land use land cover changes. A study area is Puttur, and you know, right here, a type of soil is laterite soil, and the principal crops and all they have listed. Data used is topo sheets, that sheet which was the topography of that area, topo sheet, and LISS 3 and LISS 4, that is satellite images of that satellite and Landsat images. And the softwares they have used is ArcGIS 10.1 and ERDAS Imagine 2014. These two softwares they have used. Okay, methodology for ArcGIS software: collection of the topo sheets, then georeferencing, clipping, mosaic, and creation of shapefile. Okay, it's a georeference of topo sheet and mosaicing of topo sheets, then creating the shapefile. In this project, they have created the shapefile using the software. ERDAS. It's a software. In this methodology is collection of satellite image, layer stack, mosaic, overlaying of shapefile on satellite image, extracting the satellite image related to study area, then creating LULC map. Okay, it is the Landsat ATM, that is satellite image, that is layer stacking of satellite image. All these things have done by using software. Extraction of study area, classification of study area. If you get a chance, you can learn this software. Okay, result. In the result and discussion, it is LUL's land use land cover map of 1998. Like this, they have done for different years. In 1998, what is the vegetation? What is a water body? Built up land, ridge, agriculture, fallow land, everything in the area, percentage they have listed. In the same way, it is for 1998 and for 2003 is also they have done, and 2008, 2013, 2019. Okay, at 2019 the vegetation is 182, where in 2000 not 2000 1998 it is 477, right? It is decreased, vegetation is decreased. Like that it can be compared using bar chart also. You can write, they have shown the bar chart also, it will be easier, right? Vegetation is gone decreasing, right? In 1998 there is more vegetation, but now it's less. But agriculture, right, agriculture it's increasing. It should be increased because with the increasing population agriculture must be increasing, right? Yeah, that itself is written in the sentence here. Built up land it's almost increasing, but a ridge and fallow land is there, right? Yeah, they are increasing, but then they are decreasing. Only those things have given in the written format here in sentence. You can get all those details by bar chart also and the previous photos. The conclusion is the change in the LULC in the study are affected majorly the agricultural land. Agricultural land main effect. Okay, the agricultural area is increased because human expansion throughout the world caused that agriculture is a dominant form of land management globally. Human influence to the land is accelerating because of rapid population growth and increasing in food requirements. Comparing the LULC of that is land use land cover of 1998 with 2003, 2008, 2013 and 2019, major changes is observed under agriculture. We have seen those things in a bar chart also, right? Yeah, major changes is observed in agriculture field. Fallow and land and built up is also in the major change was there in fallow land and built up. Agriculture area is increased by 33.66%. It is the result of their project, which result they have got by doing that project. And vegetation is decreased by 28.78%. Built up land is increased by 12.49%. Okay, water body has almost remained the same. Okay, this project which I have explaining right now, right? Land use, land cover, and all. This project got the award as the best project. Okay, it's a best project award 2021. Nishkala, Pavitra, and all. Okay, my seniors and Soumya ma'am, our HOD, Anand sir, and Suman sir, department project coordinator. It's just a pic I have collected. It's it is when it is offline. Okay, KSCST was done through offline, but which mentioned I have now which 43rd series and 44th series, right? It is online mode, done in online mode. It is, but it is a photo of offline mode, KSCST, that is the student project program. And one more photo I have is one more best project of the year award in the state level, KSCST 2019. It was given to the project named Measurement of Evapotranspiration for Irrigation Suitability. In that they have done data collection, field simulation and modeling. Okay, for this project, the best project of the year award was given in 2019. Okay, and one it is 2020-21 recently. The best project award is given to Land Use Land Cover project. Okay. That's the end of my presentation. Thank you everyone for your patient listening and thanks ma'am for opportunity. Thank you both of you ma'am.